I'll be reading 1 Thessalonians 4, 9 through 10. Now about your love for one another, we do not need to write to you, for you yourselves have been taught by God to love each other. And in fact, you do love all of God's family throughout Macedonia. Yeah, we urge you, brothers and sisters, to do so more and more.
Well, good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jason Engle. I'm not a preacher, so you're in for a real treat today. The thing about it is I'm used to asking questions and having people answer. I don't guess we'll do that this morning. I guess unless you feel the urge to blurt out an answer, I'll go ahead and take it. But before we get started in the lesson today, this Wednesday night, we'll be meeting here at the building around 8 p.m. for the prayer walk. We've been doing this for some weeks now. We've been to several different places throughout the community, and it's really uplifting for not only us that are there praying, but also for the people that we're praying for. So I know we've been to the high school, we've been to the police station, fire station, probably several others that I'm forgetting. But anyway, it's a very special time that we can gather around and pray for the different pieces of our community and have us come together. So if you can meet us here Wednesday night at 8 o'clock or be here right after class, we'll be breaking up into groups and going across the city. So my family sometimes thinks of me as a little boring when I travel. Okay? I don't turn on the radio. I don't listen to news. I don't listen to music. I don't listen to books. I can drive for hours and never turn on the sound. I know that's a little weird. Most of you are like, how in the world do you even do that? I like the solitude. You know, I'm looking at all the surroundings. I drive a lot for work. Well, typically I drive a lot for work. Haven't been anywhere since February. So, but anyway, I got a new truck in October, and it has a really nice sound system in it. And now that Hunter and Susan find all these neat little things on the truck, I find the radio on more often. So in doing that, I heard this song, which is the title of today's sermon. Many of you may already know it. I'm a little behind, right? I just got the truck, so I hadn't heard the song. I found out, I think it was actually written in 2019 sometime. But the song is by Matthew West. And for whatever reason, I had the song on, and it really spoke to me. I never listen to the words of a song. Couldn't tell you what any song, most of the time, I don't know what it says. I hear the beat, I hear the music. That's about it. This particular time, I heard this song, and it just reached me. And I thought about that for a long time, and then I mentioned it to John one day, and I said, man, you got to hear this song. And he already knew the song. Most of you probably already do know the song. And I said, boy, that'd make a great lesson or a great sermon. And he goes, great, when do you want to do it? Well, here I am. You may or may not be early to lunch today. Just plan on one or the other. It's not quite 10:30. I have a lot of notes, but we may go quick. I'm not sure yet. But think about this for a second. And as we go through the lesson, think about some of these phrases. I'm fine. I'm good. Never better. It's under control. Everything's okay. Gene, what did I tell you this morning? We're all good. I think that was my answer to you. And do you ever catch yourself when you're asked, how are you doing? That's your typical response. One of those or something similar to it. Well, what about when it's not? Are we willing to say that? What about when it's not okay? You know, one of the first things that I thought of, hang on. Nope, we're not ready for that yet. As I kind of went through building the notes for this, I wanted to figure out why the song was important to the guy that wrote it and sang it. And later on here in just a few minutes, we'll see a quote from him as to why he wrote this song. But the words, I didn't write the entire song out. It's actually quite a long song after I got to looking at the different words. But as you read the words through the song, and we'll go ahead and do that now, but like I said, the song is Truth Be Told by Matthew West. Lie number 1, you're supposed to have it all together. And when they ask you how you're doing, you just smile and tell never better. Lie number 2, everybody's life is perfect except yours. So keep your messes and your wounds and your secrets safe with you behind closed doors. Truth be told, the truth is rarely told. I say I'm fine, yeah, I'm fine, oh, I'm fine, hey, I'm fine, but I'm not. I'm broken. And when it's out of control, I say it's under control, but it's not. And you know it. I don't know why it's so hard to admit it when being honest is the only way to fix it. There's no failure, no fall. There's no sin you don't already know. So let the truth be told. So when you think about the words, that's just the first verse. I think there are 3 or 4 more. I didn't really feel like flipping that long, but that first verse really says all of it, if you ask me. But when we go through that and we think about how we interact with each other, I know I go through the motions all the time. Hey, how you doing today? Great? Nothing? Everything's great. But then I stop and think about the people that go home after you've asked them that. And we think about what's really going on. When we close the doors, when we turn out the lights, when things really aren't okay. And so we look at 1 Thessalonians 5:11. It says, therefore encourage one another and build each other up, just as in the fact you were doing. So when we think about this topic, about some people not being okay, are we working hard to build them up? In class this morning, we talked about the things that Jesus did for us and still does do for us right now. One of the things he does is he loves us, right? We love each other. We have to be intentional about this. Wednesday night, I remember, I had left something in my truck. I ran out real quick. John was coming in the door. I said, hey, John, how you doing? And I'm just walking. And then from afar, I hear him, you know, truth be told, of course, he knew the sermon was coming. And it stopped me dead in my tracks. And I turned around and I listened to him. Don't you think that's what we should do all the time? That's the intentional piece of it. Truth be told, it's not always okay. And the thing about it is, it's okay that it's not okay. What do we need to do to help you? What do we need to do to help you make it okay? There are so many things right now in our world that make things not okay. We could all list, we could fill a whiteboard right now with all those things. How intentional are we? 1 Peter 4:8 says, above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sin. And that's truth. But think about the deeply portion of that. How deeply are we loving each other? How intentional are we doing that for each other? Because I could use some lessons in that. Instead of the off-the-cuff answer, think of it this way. I actually had a person say to me just this morning, how much time do you have? I stayed. Because it's necessary that we stay, right? It's necessary that when God's people need us to listen to them, that we stay and we go through it all with them. I look at it as a responsibility that we all have to each other, that we're here to take care of each other, we're here to do things for each other without fear of judgment, without fear of someone gossiping. That's our responsibility as God's people. We have to trust each other. That when someone says, how much time do you have? And they pour their heart out to us, that they know that they can trust us with what they have to tell us. One of the things that I learned some time ago is that most people aren't expecting us to fix it. That's really not what they need from us. They don't really need us to always fix it. They need us to listen. And they need us to love them. And they need us to share God's promises with them. And they need us to be intentional. I know I've said that word many times so far. Intentional is the purpose of this whole thing. We don't always have to fix it, but we may just need to be there to walk with them as they cry through it, or as that they come up with a different solution to help them get to the final resolution. Will we be those people today? When we ask someone how they're doing, will we stop and really listen? Will we be intentional today? Will we take the late night phone call? Maybe the knock on the door when someone needs us? That's being intentional. This is the quote by Matthew West about why he wrote this song. This song is an honest attempt by me to be, well, honest. Authenticity is easier said than lived. I think deep down we all like the idea of showing who we really are, warts and all, to the world. But allowing others to see the rough around the edges is a scary thing. What will people think? How will they judge me when they know I'm anything but perfect? And then he added, the crazy thing is, the truth is already told when it comes to God. Scripture says nothing in our lives is hidden from Him. For someone who hasn't discovered the freedom of grace, the thought of God knowing about the worst parts of your life can really freak you out. But to understand that there is a God that sees every secret sin, every struggle, every thought, every mistake, and loves you still, that is a freedom like no other. And if you listen to all of the verses of this song, you'll understand why that's his quote about why he wrote it. Because sometimes, warts and all, as he says, those need to be shown, right? And they're not easy to go through. It's not easy to ask someone to listen. It's not easy to ask someone to pray for you over the hard things. But the one thing about it is, this is the place that it should be done. Every single day, any time that it needs to be done, it should be able to be done here. We ask it every Sunday, or we offer it every Sunday, right? Offer an invitation. Most Sundays, the elders stand alone. Now, I find it just as hard to come up front as anyone else does. But this is the place of being intentional. This is the place that God's love is poured out over everyone here. And, you know, we have to show people, it was mentioned in class this morning, that people have to see Jesus in us. And that's obviously not just here, but that's outside of here as well. But if they haven't found the trust yet, if they haven't found the judgment-free spot yet, if they haven't found the lack of gossip yet, this front piece will stay empty. And I think it goes back to the responsibility that we all have for each other, and that is to love each other and meet each other where they are and help you where you need to be helped. So the words that Matthew wrote in his quote, I believe, are pretty powerful. Before I go much further, you're probably going to be early for lunch, so just plan on that. I think about the rest of the song, and like I said, I didn't write all the verses. And I'm not really a person that tends to get kind of wrapped up in songs and different things, but there are certain songs that just strike me, like this one did. And I don't think they play it enough, because, you know, when you listen to Caleb on the radio, it seems like they play the same song every fifth song. I mean, it's just over and over and over and over. For some reason, this one isn't seeming to come up as often as the other ones, and I think it should be played more often than some of their other songs. Because this is a lesson in itself. This is a lesson in how we trust God, but more importantly, how we trust each other and how we love each other and how we help each other get through the sticky portions of life. So think about the song. Go home later today. I wish I could play it, but I couldn't find a different version, so it is what it is. The song is meaningful in a lot of ways. James 5:16 says, "Therefore confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective." I gave up my position on the prayer ministry not too long ago to a couple of other really capable guys. But most everyone here probably knows just how much I believe in the power of prayer. To me, it's a very strong connection that we have, that we can communicate with God, but He can also guide and lead us. Pray often. Pray intentionally. It's even okay to ask for things. Be thankful. One of the things that I've started doing, I kind of caught the family by surprise at Christmas, and everybody got a new prayer journal. Completely blank for them to write in it as they need to. But one of the things that I want to start doing now, that I haven't been so good at doing before, is being thankful as things happen. Prayers of thanksgiving right now when they happen. Not when I get to my normal prayer time at night or early in the morning, whenever that may be. praying right now when it happens. That's intentional. And increasing your prayer life more often for others. That prayer journal is not just for things for me. That prayer journal is for all of you. Those are the things I write in it, or will be writing in it. Prayers that I see come from the church for all of you go in that book. And I get to keep going back until I hear that things are better, right? We keep moving forward. We keep going back. We keep praying for the people that need us the most. Being intentional. The title of the sermon was Truth Be Told because that was the name of the song. Because everything that's in that song is reality in our world about how hard it is to get this body, to come forward to this body so they can pray for you. Coming forward is hard, but it shouldn't be hard. It doesn't need to be hard. And here in a minute, we'll wrap this up and we'll have the same invitation that we have every week. And you'll have a couple of different men standing up here to do the same offering that we do every week. But I would say this to you today is that as we get to that portion, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the judgment. Don't be afraid of what anybody says or what you think they might say. Truth be told, they're probably not saying anything anyway. Think about that. If there's anything that we can do for any of you today, we're going to be right down front. If there's anyone that feels the call to be baptized today, we're here to answer that call for you too. Why don't you come as we stand and sing?